I don't know why I'm doing this today. Maybe because I really want to, but maybe it's just because I've gone absolutely batshit crazy. I mean, I just got done with a 50-hour week at worst, in the middle of the worst heat wave ever. And I almost mean that literally, because it's apparently the worst heat wave for the last 30 years. And 30 years ago, I wasn't even born. So when I say it's the worst heat wave of my life, it's probably it, and I can definitely believe it. I mean, come on, it's like 30 degrees even at night. So imagine during the day. Ugh. Oh my god, I'm so sticky and sweaty all the freaking time. I come out of the shower, and I am still freaking sweaty. It did absolutely nothing. It's like, who set Groudon free? Speaking of Groudon, we set it free almost 30 videos ago, and we still haven't seen anything of it. I mean, when I said in Ruby it was in a hurry to create droughts everywhere, well here, it's the complete opposite. I can imagine Groudon with sunglasses on its lawn chair, just chilling. Yeah, and he's all like, "Roar! Bring me another pina colada! I'm thirsty here!" But anyway, that's enough of that. Today we're headed to Route 128 to fight the trainers that are there. Route 28 but contains both the Seafloor Cavern, which we're going to do in a long while when we've completed all the sea routes, and Evergrande City, which contains the Victory Road and the Pokémon League, but we need the final gym badge to get there, of course. So, of course, we're not going to do either right now. I'm just going to check out the area, go underwater, find some treasure, and by the way, I believe that this is the last we'll see of that whole underwater feature, because I don't think there's anything like that in the remaining sea routes, well, except for that cave where I went to unlock the Reggies, but that was already done. So, for all intents and purposes, this is the last we'll see of underwater hoeing. Anyway, as far as Black and White go, we've seen a lot of new screenshots and stuff this week, and one thing that I noticed is that we never seem to see any of the old Pokemon whatsoever. However, don't believe for an instant that it means that they're going to completely do away with the old ones, since, I mean, as some people have suggested, since Isshu is supposed to be far away from the other 4 regions, but there's just one thing to keep in mind. It's that I don't believe that for an instant that the Pokemon world mirrors the actual world. Rather, I think it's sort of a compliment. And I'm just going to check down here because it's only going to take a second. I think, yep, there's something down there. Protein! Well, another vitamin, but yeah, as I was saying, it's not because Sinnoh is north of the other regions in real life that it's going to be so in the Pokemon world, except for the fact that Sinnoh is up north because we already know it's up north, but it doesn't mean that the regions are disposed in the same way as they do in the real world. They could be closer to what the Poke-Earth displays for all we know. But yeah, that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was that, of course, they're going to bring back some old Pokemon. Expect the old mainstays like Pikachu, Magikarp, Geodude, Zubat, and I find it hard to believe, too, that Koromori, is going to be a complete replacement of Zubat. Rather, I think Koromori is going to be to Zubat what Wingull is to Tentacool. An attempt to dilute the presence of a more common Pokemon, but not to completely erase it. But that's just speculation at this point. If Zubat really isn't in the Isshu Dex, I don't want you to come and tell me, "Oh, but Koromori's the bat in Isshu, there's no Zubats there!" Besides, let's not forget that they might pull the same thing as in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and have every single non-starter, non-legendary available in the game in some way to begin with. So, whether it's in the Isshu Dex or not is not that relevant, to be honest. But anyway, the lack of old Pokemon in screenshots and magazines and stuff has got me thinking, how was it before Diamond and Pearl came out? And it was actually pretty bad as well. I mean, most of the old Pokemon we saw prior to Diamond and Pearl coming out were in order to, compare the gender differences, because starting with Diamond and Pearl, there are some Pokemon that look differently depending on their gender, and for that they used Butterfree, Scizor, and Wooper. So other than that, we only saw one Pokemon from the first 3 generations in screenshots prior to Diamond and Pearl coming out, and that was Golduck. Yep, Golduck. That's as random a choice as it gets. Don't know why they went with Golduck of all things, but hey, whatever. And yes, I know they show the legendary dogs as well, but those are the legendary dogs from the Zoroark event, or rather, the Zoroark movie event, and the dogs are going to be used to unlock Zoroark, but oh, my Pokemon knows Waterfall, but I don't have the Pseudopolis Gym Badge. Well, good luck beating Juan with that lineup. And do you have Dive? Because you need Dive to enter Pseudopolis. You know that, right? Well, that's going to be a long trek to Evergrande if that guy really doesn't have Dive. So anyway, just to put an end to what I was saying, don't be alarmed because we're not seeing old Pokemon. I'm sure we're going to be seeing them in spades once the game actually comes out. But before then, of course, they're going to show off the new Pokemon because they're more marketable, because they're new. But once the game comes out, I'm sure there will be the usual 40-50% of old Pokemon in the Isshu Dex, as there has always been. Now moving on to something else, I was talking about Zoroark a bit earlier on, and as it turns out, there is very, very bad news that came out this week about Illusion, and it's that the sprite of the Illusion is actually of a darker tone than that of the actual Pokemon. For example, if you visited Cerebi this week, you might have noticed that there was a screenshot with a Hihidaruma on it, but the Hihidaruma was a bit darker than usual, and that's because it was a Zorua in disguise. Because if you compare the actual sprite of Hihidaruma as we've seen it before, and the sprite that was in that screenshot from this week, it's a bit darker. Oh, come on, stop using harder. Please, you're just delaying the inevitable. Oh, Hyper Potion! Well, it's not every day that you see a random trainer use an item, especially a high-end one like a Hyper Potion. So, yeah, delaying the inevitable. I wonder if it's going to deal any damage to me at all in this fight. Pound? No. If I connect, this is probably going to be over. Yep, and come on, it could have been over in 1 or 2 turns, but Mr. Ruben here insisted on just stalling for time. And by the way, before I forget, I gave my Blaziken Brick Break off screen and then I put it back in the PC, and some people I think were actually surprised that I gave it the 15 PP Brick Break over the 30 PP Double Kick, but I care more about the power than about the PP, because the power is what's going to come in really handy during stuff like the Elite Four, for example. And as for the PP, well, that's why I have multiple Pokemon to rely on, so it's not really that much of an issue. Besides, Blaziken is going to get Earthquake before the end of the game, so it's going to be 40 PP in total for attacking, which is not half bad. And oh my god, the timer's already at 9 minutes? That means we're going to be closing with this random battle here, but it's a shame because remember those 2 guys in Pseudopolis that were arguing about whether Lotad or C-Dot was the one that was bigger? Well, I found out something that was pretty messed up about this whole thing, and I'm not sure if I talk about it in the comments or in the movie description or whatever, probably in the movie description, but I'm going to bring that back up in the next video. So see you then, whenever that is.